Well, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that AI-created deepfakes were alarming and terrible. His statement comes after explicit celebrity deepfakes were found on the internet. Microsoft started a crackdown on its free AI tool, Microsoft Designer, after the published fakes. The update added guardrails preventing non-consensual photos from being used. Nadella told NBC Nightly News after the scandal, no one would want an online world that is not completely safe for both content creators and content consumers. Well, to talk more about all things Microsoft, I'm joined by Maribel Lopez. She's the founder and principal analyst at Lopez Research. Thank you so much for joining our program today.
Thank you.
Well, what do you think of Microsoft's earnings report? It certainly beat expectations. Were you surprised at all by this?
There's really an AI momentum that companies like Microsoft are experiencing right now. If you are part of the AI ecosystem, it is like gold. And I think we saw that in this quarter's earnings for Microsoft.
Was this performance largely because of the focus on AI, and how much will AI factor into Microsoft's future as a company?
It's an interesting question because AI is pervasive across a bunch of their product suite right now. So it's hard to actually pack revenue directly to that, with the exception of the Azure portfolio. And they were very specific about how they saw growth in share and they saw growth in AI revenue. There's, of course, some CapEx cost that goes with that. But right now, their growth is outpacing their CapEx costs. So they're in a really fortunate position that they work very hard at, and they are a leading part of the AI revolution right now. So it's not surprised that we've seen strong growth.
And as Microsoft shifts to AI, we've seen it veer kind of away from the gaming sector. It announced it's eliminating nearly 2,000 employees in its gaming unit just last week. So what does this say about Microsoft's product development going forward?
Well, I do think that they saw with the Activision ad some really strong revenue, and gaming is going to continue to be a strong revenue driver in the consumer segment. So I don't think they're giving up on that. Some of the devices business also has to do with commercial devices, laptops and the like, and there will be another wave of that device purchasing, but we're not expecting to see that for at least several quarters, which is why you saw basically a loss in share for the devices market. We are going to continue to see innovation in that space, but really right now, all hands on deck with Microsoft are all about AI, and it's basically leveraging double-digit growth across most of the segments in the company right now. So they're very focused on keeping that train going more so than anything else.
I mean, how does this affect its competitors? Are there any real competitors out there to compete against Microsoft and its huge AI sector?
Oh, absolutely. This game is far, far from over. We are just at the beginning of the AI revolution. We saw strong growth in AWS. We expect to see that again this quarter. Google Cloud, IBM, you're starting to see that momentum in multiple large tech companies. You're even seeing it across what were some of the more traditional tech stack companies, companies like Dell, companies like HPE. So we expect to see this wave continue well into 2024. The Fab Five, the Magnificent Seven are going to continue to have what seems to be an unstoppable run right now, even for companies that are extremely large to have this kind of double-digit quarter-on-quarter growth. It's really phenomenal and a little hard for investors to handle in the sense of, how do we handicap how much growth there could possibly be in this space right now?
So what do we as consumers expect from all of this? I mean, what kind of products do we expect to be available on the market?
So one of the things I think is really important for consumers to think about is everything to just get easier with your software and your services. That's where people are really going to see the win. In a lot of ways, it's underneath the covers. You don't think of what you're experiencing as AI. They're more contextual services. You get better recommendations if you're looking at content. You get certain content serviced to you. You get reminders about things, better directions, everything you can imagine AI is touching in some way. They talk a lot about it in productivity in the enterprise side, but that also happens in the consumer side. Your software and services just work better, so your life is easier and you can do more of the things you love and enjoy. So that's what we're hoping for and looking forward to on the consumer sector. But you saw great consumer electronics at CES this year. Everything from smart showers to being able to do conversational interfaces on cars, TVs, you name it.
I was just going to ask, are there any sectors we haven't seen AI touch that we might see in the coming year?
I don't know if it's sectors that we haven't seen. I mean, some of the sectors are more in the industrial space. We're starting to see a lot of activity and opportunity there. And the Internet of Things space that we've talked about for well more than a decade, we're actually starting to see some traction in. Of course, the big one that everybody's kind of scratching their head over and saying, is this really the year? And that's around the Vision Pro. And are we going to get another run at virtual reality that actually works this time? That's a wild card for the space, but it's a product we've talked about for quite some time that we're looking forward to. AI in automotive is going to continue, but there are a lot of regulatory challenges around AI in automotive. That's really what's holding that back right now, not the tech itself.